Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. Tonight, the Tigers homestand continues on an absolutely gorgeous night for baseball here in the Motor City. Welcome to Comerica Park, Game 2 in this series, featuring the Detroit Tigers and the visiting Pittsburgh Pirates. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario Pemba, Ron Allen, glad you're with us tonight for Game 2 in this series. The Tigers took it on the chin last night. It took a long while to get that one in, but today we move on. Alfredo Simon will get the start today, Rod, and the movement on his pitches have been pretty good so far this year.
No doubt about that. By and large, he has been outstanding all season long, but the last couple of outings, he's gotten some balls up and he's given up 12 runs. But when he is good, he has got some outstanding action on his cutter, down and away from the right-handers. He'll also fade that same two-seam fastball down and into the righties. That change piece slash split-fingered fastball, really, really good. And I love his creativity. He'll drop down to a sidearm slot and throw you a big sweeping breaking ball. He has been awesome here at home. The Tigers will need to lean heavily on Simon here tonight because their bullpen threw an awful lot of pitches last night.
Well, the Tigers also had plenty of opportunities. Really, both teams did late in the ballgame last night to get a victory. The Tigers, though, need to do a better job with men in scoring position. 12 men left on base last night.
3 for 15 is not necessarily going to get it done if you're going to win games. That's why they did not win that game last night. They've got some guys that have really good numbers with runners in scoring position. Take a step back, take a deep breath, relax, and get yourself a base hit when you have an opportunity to score a run.
Sounds like a plan. After a short break, we'll send you back to the Coliseum Studios. Check in with Johnny Kane. Coming up tonight, we'll see if JD can do it again. Another late inning homer last night. JD and the Tigers taking on the Bucks next. Pirates get set for game 2 of the series. Alfredo Simon takes the mound for the Tigers, presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Overall, Simon's numbers not bad. 7 wins, 4 losses, an ERA just a shade over 3.5. Couple different fastballs, 2s and 4s. He'll also cut the fastball, but by and large, the pitch that he goes to the most is that split-fingered fastball. He'll use it early in counts. He'll also use it very late in counts to put hitters away.
And the first man he will face tonight is Josh Harrison as we get this one going. First pitch of the ball game is a strike called. Harrison in the lineup tonight is starting at third base. He is batting .280 this year with 4 home runs. Simon's 0-1 pitch. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Alfredo in search of a victory after a little bit of a rocky stretch. Beat the Pirates earlier this year, and Pittsburgh was really impressive in that game. 1-1 is chopped to third, backhanded there by Castellanos, and a nice scoop by Miggy at first base. Here's the rest of the lineup presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. You saw Harrison, who leads the National League with 58 hits, has been banged. Walker and McCutchen to follow, then Marte, Alvarez, and Cervelli in the middle. Bottom 3 tonight, Polanco, Mercer, and Sean Rodriguez gets the start at first base.
A nice backhand play by Castellanos, but he needed some help on the other side from Miguel Cabrera because he bounced it over to Miggy.
Here's Neil Walker. Batting in the 2 slot, he looks at a strike 0-1. Walker 2 out of 6 last night. He also drew a couple of base on balls. He is batting .259. And Simon missing low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Already pretty good sign for Simon here tonight, who pitches a pretty good baseball right here at Comerica Park, keeping that fastball at the bottom of the strike zone.
Fouled straight back, 1-2. Simon's last 2 starts, he's gone 9 innings, allowing 12 earned runs. We talked about that rocky stretch, trying to turn that around tonight against a lineup that he already has dominated once this year. Make it 2-2 on Walker.
A couple of keys for Simon this evening. Make sure you throw strike 1, which allows you to expand the strike zone. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they have a lot of aggressive swingers. They have some guys that will swing and miss. So you can exploit that weakness, but you can only exploit that weakness if you're able to get ahead of them early in the count.
Pirates come in 10 over the 500 mark at 43-33. The Tigers 39-37, 2 over.
And Tigers missed an opportunity to gain a game on the Kansas City Royals last night after they were shut out by the Houston Astros. Dallas Keuchel, it just continues to get it done for the Astros.
Now the 2-2 again. Drill to right field. That'll be a base hit for Neil Walker. First base hit of the ball game now for the Pirates.
And Beaumont Health System will sponsor the starting defensive alignment for the Tigers this evening. Cespedes, Davis, Martinez in the outfield. Castellanos, Iglesias, Kinsler, Miggy in the infield. And James McCann is back behind the dish here tonight after catching 14 innings last night.
Does that surprise you?
Yes, it does surprise me a little bit.
McCann, as you like to see, with those young legs.
Yeah, he's a young boy.
He should be okay.
Yeah, a young boy.
Here's McCutchen now with 1 on, 1 out. Rolled toward third, just outside of the bag. McCutchen has hit safely in his last 7 consecutive games. A couple of hits in last night's ball game. And he also walked 3 times.
This is when Simon is at his best. 94 miles an hour with this 2-seam fastball running in on the hands of the very talented McCutchen. You have to pitch McCutchen inside. He's got some very quick hands.
.296 batting average for McCutchen. Here's the 0-1.
There was a time when McCutchen first came to the big leagues that his hand speed, his bat quickness was always compared to Gary Sheffield for a right-handed batter. And Gary Sheffield had one of the quickest bats that I've ever seen for a right-handed batter. And McCutchen drew that comparison when he first got to the movies.
Simon ahead of the count 0-2. Good pickup there by McCann. 1 ball, 2 strikes. I know we said this over and over, but I don't think you and I ever really appreciated what kind of ball player that Sheffield was until he put a Tigers uniform on and saw him play every day.
He could steal bases. He had tremendous base running instincts. When we saw him, he was a little older, so he wasn't that good defensively, but he had a good arm. But he could swing that bat, man. He was dangerous when he was in that batter's box.
As is McCutchen, who has made 4 consecutive National League All-Star teams. And Simon missed the outside corner. The count goes 2-2 on McCutchen.
It's a nice job of pitching. And McCutchen able to lay off that 91-mile-per-hour cutter after getting a couple of two-seamers in on his hands at 94. But I like the action and I like the aggressiveness already of Simon this evening.
Here's the 2-2. Drilled toward left field. Cespedes on the move, still going, and Yoenis runs it down.
He got a great jump on that BB that was hit to left field, and also kind of battling the sun. The left field's the sun field. You can see that Cespedes is in the sun, but he was off at the crack of the bat and made a real nice defensive play.
They got double written all over it. So staring into the sun, he hauls in the line drive for out number 2. And that brings up Starling Marte. 1 for 6 in the ball game last night. With the extra inning game last evening, you either watch your average tumble a bit or you picked up a hit or 2, and most of the players were able to do that last night. A lot of men left on base, really, for both sides in that game.
Yeah.
The Pirates left 19 men on base.
And Tigers, we brought it up at the top of the show, they were 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position.
Marte bats with 2 outs and a runner at first. He struck out 4 times in the ball game last night.
He is much better than a 276 hitter, but he doesn't use right field enough. Right now, he's a dead pull hitter. Once he matures in the big leagues and starts to use the middle of the diamond, starts to use right field a little bit better, that batting average will get up to close to 300 for the youngster Marte.
Now Simon with the 0-1. He'll spin that one up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike on Marte. Starling now has gone double digits in home runs in 3 straight years. He is still a very young player, very highly thought of. Was a player that made the Futures game back in 2011.
They don't miss very much with those players that are able to go to the Futures game. It seems like a lot of those guys end up getting to the big leagues the next year or 2 after they appear in the Futures game.
Tigers have 1 representative this year, Joe Jimenez, a pitcher from the Whitecaps, West Michigan. He'll represent the Tigers. Another toss back, and the runner back in easily. That's Walker. Castellanos played in that Futures game. James McCann, Rondon. A lot of talent goes through that game. 1-1 on Starling Marte. Outside 2-1. Marte, the cleanup hitter for the Pirates. His 12 home runs is a team high. Alvarez is next with 10. Bouncing ball left side. What a play by Iglesias. Has flipped to second, not in time. Got away from Kinsler, but not far enough to advance the runner. be a base hit, infield single for Marte.
There's not a shortstop in the American League that has the range that Iglesias does, and we've seen him make a lot of plays just like this. But the one thing that we don't normally see a throw that's not accurate from Iglesias. He has a very accurate throwing arm, but that time Kinsler not able to help him out.
2 on now for the Pirates. It brings us to the Bernstein advantage, the pitcher-batter matchup, and Simon against Alvarez. Well, this one has been in control for Simon. Alvarez just 1 for 13 against Alfredo. Early scoring opportunity, though, for the Pirates here with 2 outs. Alvarez was 1 for 2 last night, had a double, was hit by a pitch. They back him out of there 1-0.
You were talking about that futures game. Alvarez also participated in the futures game. He's hit a lot of home runs in the big leagues already. And former #1 draft choice.
He is DHing tonight, but these days playing first base for the Pirates. He committed quite a few errors the last 2 years at third. And they have shifted him across the diamond.
Last year, 25 errors for Alvarez, 24 of those throwing.
Well, they had 27 the year before that.
And 27 the year before that.
Here are the career numbers on Pedro. 114 home runs. High towering fly ball. Right center field, it is Rajay Davis under it to retire the side, so nothing comes of the 2 base hits. We go to the bottom of the first. Rajay Davis in the lineup tonight, even though the Tigers are facing a right-hander. It is presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Davis, Kinsler, Cabrera, your top 3. Victor, the DH tonight. Then Cespedes. J.D. Martinez, a .902 OPS this season. Castellanos and then McCann and Iglesias rounding it out. And they are facing the veteran A.J. Burnett.
And Burnett no longer has the 98, 99 mile per hour fastball as he did when he first came to the big leagues. He relies on movement these days. Two-seamer, curveball, and occasional changeup. Getting a lot of ground balls these days, and he's also having a very good season. The ERA sits at 2.01.
So Burnett, who says this will be his final year, brings home a strike to Rajay Davis.
Rajay Davis 6 for 13 in his career against A.J. Burnett. That's the reason why he is leading off today instead of Anthony Gose.
And Ben's inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
How is Burnett going to shut it down after this year if he makes his first All-Star team and goes on to have the kind of season that he's had?
Well, it's a good question. He says he's going to shut it down, but sometimes they change their minds. And maybe that'll happen because he certainly is not pitching like a 38-year-old.
17 years in the big leagues for Burnett. Used to walk a lot of people, doesn't walk that many anymore. Pitches to a lot of contact.
1-2 on Davis. Bouncing ball to short. Jordy Mercer has the hop. Rajay is out, one gone.
Let's take a look at the starting defensive alignment for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Marte, McCutchen, Polanco in the outfield. Harrison, Mercer, Walker, Rodriguez in the infield. And Francisco Cervelli having a great year offensively and defensively for the Pittsburgh Pirates this year.
Here is Ian Kinsler. 2 out of 7 last night for Kinsler. He has now hit safely in 4 straight. Double in the ball game last night. And drove in a run. Burnett slings it home and throws outside 1-0.
And just to give you an idea of how AJ has matured, usually when he was younger and you caught him, you had to set up right down the middle of the plate. But now you could get to the outer edges, and because he has much better command.
That's toward the gap in right center field and caught on the run by Gregory Polanco.
He's got those long galloping strides in right field, got a pretty good jump on that ball, and basically took a double away from Kinsler. We've seen Cespedes with a really nice play already today, and now Polanco makes a nice grab and right.
He is 6 feet 5 inches tall, and some players have said he's got the longest legs I've ever seen.
He got those long galloping strides.
So with 2 outs here is Miguel Cabrera. Ooh, Miggy tried to hold up. Cabrera was 2 out of 6 last night. .349 batting average, is still tops in the American League. Prince Fielder is second at .347. In there for a strike is Miggy. Disagrees with Marvin Hudson. So that ball was up. Hudson says no, what? Whew. The 0-2. Usually it's Cabrera that gets the benefit on those types of pitches. Just a shade off the plate. Cabrera's hit 1 home run in his career against Burnett. He's 6 for 26 against him, so that's only a .231 average. Checked it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cabrera's been on base in 41 of his last 43. Trying to keep it going here for Victor Martinez, waiting on deck. Now Burnett ready with the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. Cabrera's out of there. First strikeout of the ball game for A.J. Burnett. Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll select our Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by McDonald's Big Mac and 10-piece McNuggets. Simon goes back to the mound now, and Alfredo facing Cervelli, Polanco, and Mercer in the top of inning number 2. A couple of singles in that first inning for the Pirates, but they did not score. And Cervelli looks at a ball inside.
And Cervelli having a very good year offensively, and the reason for that, he is using right field quite a bit. And the batting average sits at .298. Not many catchers in the National League doing as well as Cervelli, and that's the main reason why.
Cervelli last year in his final season with the Yankees hit .301. 7 years with the Yanks.
Currently ranks 3rd in the National League in the All-Star voting because of the good year that he's having.
Here's the 1-1. Way outside, 2-1.
When he was playing in the American League, we really didn't get a chance to see him a lot because he was basically a backup catcher.
Yeah, the guys like Posada. Of course, early on in his career, Posada was still there, and Russell Martin was there.
No batting gloves for Cervelli, which is rare these days.
High fly ball, center field, on the move, Rajay Davis. All the way to the warning track to make the play, one gone.
Yeah, right on cue, Cervelli tries to go the opposite way, but Rajay able to run that one down. A lot of air underneath that fly ball hit in the right center field by Cervelli.
That'll bring up Gregory Polanco, who batted leadoff in the ball game last night for the Pirates. He is down to 7 tonight. Was 1 out of 5 with an RBI. That floats in for a strike. It's 66 miles an hour.
Ephus?
He'd appear to be, as Mr. Simon will break that out every now and then. One and one the count. Way inside, made him move his feet, and down he goes.
Woo. Get that right knee out of the way.
Here's the 2-1. Pulled on the ground and threw right through the wickets of Greg Gibson, the umpire. Pretty nifty move there. Third single of the night, and Gibson had to leap out of the way.
He can laugh about it now. Whoa!
Should I go left or right? How about straight up and down?
Greg's got some mini hops.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not go too far.
Looked pretty good till it slowed it down.
He didn't get that high. Here's Jordy Mercer. Third hit of the game for the Pirates. Mercer straightens up, ball 1.
Polanco is one guy on the Pirates team that will run. 17 steals for Polanco. He's been caught 6 times. But by now you know that James McCann behind the plate, if you give him a little bit of time to throw, he's got a cannon.
And Polanco draws the throw, goes back in standing up. 17 swipes for Polanco, caught 6 times. Mercer, a .239 hitter. He has knocked in a run in 5 straight games now for Pittsburgh. Runner goes, and it's slapped to right field, slicing, fair ball down to the corner. Knocked down by J.D. Martinez. Polanco will get to third base. Here's the throw to second, and they got it.
Mercer called out at second base. JD bobbled it momentarily. See if the Pirates want a challenge.
Nice piece of hitting here down the right field line by Mercer. Polanco slid into second base because he was deep into thinking that was a ground ball, and then Mercer tried to stretch that single into a double, and JD Martinez gets his 7th assist of the season. That's why you have to pick up your third base coach when you're running to second base and the ball is down in the right field corner, because you cannot have that second baseman or that shortstop deking you into sliding. It's a nice tag applied by Kinsler.
And their final was, it's about 50-50.
It's a wise decision. They lost the challenge last night in the very first inning, did the Pittsburgh Pirates.
50-50 usually means they will stick with the umpire's call on the field. So they decided not to use the challenge. 2 outs, runner at third for Sean Rodriguez. Single E9 on that play. 9-4 on the putout of Mercer. Here's the 1-0. Drilled and foul.
Take one more look at Kinsler deking Polanco into sliding. Polanco was running on the pitch. He took a look over at the third base coach, but he took a look too late. He was able to alert the ball in right field and then took off for third.
And now Rodriguez trying to drive him in. Here's the 1-1. McCann blocks it. 2 balls, 1 strike. Rodriguez had a triple in last night's ball game. He was inserted later in the game when they took Pedro Alvarez out. Top of the order, waiting on deck, Josh Harrison. Simon throwing from the windup with a runner at third base. Swing and a miss.
95 with that fastball thrown by Simon. He's got a lot in his tank. He can go to 96, but his 96 has some late life on it. Good two-seam action down and in to Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, the last 5 years of his career spent in Tampa with the Rays. Broke into the big leagues with the Angels.
Played everywhere for Joe Madden down in Florida.
Swing and a miss. Down he goes. Simon pitching out of trouble here in the second. That is his first strikeout of the ball game. Victor Martinez will start things off for the Tigers. And last night we had quite a few guys, including Victor, hit by a pitch.
Yeah, 3 Pittsburgh Pirates were hit in last night's game. And, of course, Victor Martinez wore one right in the square of the back by Garrett Cole. Warnings were issued by Chris Siegel after the 3rd hit by a batter. Then Gorzolani hit, and one more batter real late in the game. That was Polanco. But the Pirates already have been hit 44 times this year.
3 more last night for the Pirates. Martinez batting .247. They had the shift on against him. And Victor looks to strike.
Since the beginning of the 2013 season, the Pirates have been hit 210 times. Next closest team, St. Louis Cardinals, with 175.
And Martinez facing Burnett here, who had himself a 1-2-3 first inning. Victor had some pointed comments after the ball game last night about Garrett Cole and in fact all of the Pirates about the situation of getting hit by a pitch. Claire Hurdle had his own reaction to Victor's comments. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and Victor is out of there. 1 gone. Second strikeout now for Burnett. That'll bring up Yoenis Cespedes.
A.J. Burnett has really matured as a pitcher. He's been in the big leagues a long time and no longer relies on the mid to upper 90s fastball. A lot of sink. Still has a real good breaking ball. He uses his changeup about 5% of the time. But on all 3 of his pitches, the 2-seamer, curveball, and the changeup, he is getting a ton of ground balls this year.
Meanwhile, the Pirates now shifting the other way against Cespedes. They played a pull on the left side of the infield. And Yoenis takes strike 1. There are only 2 pitchers right now in the National League that have a better ERA than A.J. Burnett, and that would be Zach Greinke and Max Scherzer.
And both of those guys have won Cy Youngs.
The 0-1. But outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Burnett, 38 years old, born in Little Rock, Arkansas. Here's the 1-1. Pulled right by a diving Harrison. Into left field it goes, and Cespedes breaks an 0 for 11 with a base hit.
Off-speed pitch at 81 miles per hour, left up in the strike zone, and that's where Cespedes is awfully dangerous. Burnett is really lucky this ball did not travel over the wall in left field. Absolutely scorched right past a diving Josh Harrison.
First hit of the series for Cespedes. And bring up J.D. Martinez. J.D. pounds one back out of play. 0-1.
J.D. Martinez with a huge home run really late in the game against Watson there, and one of their setup men, and he does not give up the many home runs, does Watson, but J.D., boy, he's just picking on everybody these days. He's been a straight out bully.
Well, he has, but maybe more importantly, a lot of these home runs that he's hit the last couple of years have come late in games.
That always helps and put some W's in the win column. Unfortunately, the Tigers not able to finish it off last night.
20 home runs in the 7th inning or later since the start of last year.
He has gone from a guy that got released at the beginning of last year to a guy that has a chance to make his first All-Star team. As Sammy Sosa would say, what a country.
Here's the 1-1 from Burnett. Runner goes and is drilled to right field on a line. Polanco is on the move. Can't get it over his head. Cespedes stopped at second. Now he's going to go to third and hold there. A rocket hit off the bat of J.D. Martinez.
Absolute laser off the bat of J.D. Martinez. He loves to hit the ball to right field. He hits it very aggressively. in that direction. For whatever reason, Cespedes did not get a good read on this ball. Not caught by Polanco, but he stalled at second base before he was able to pick it up. And then once he was able to pick it up, you see that the ball had not been caught, only able to get to third, and J.D. Martinez was forced into going back to first base.
Clint Hurdle considered challenging that to see whether or not he retouched second.
Yeah, you saw J.D. Martinez kick the bag on his way to third base.
Here's Castellanos. 2 on now with 1 out. Runners at the corners for the Tigers.
J.D. Martinez needs to be careful over at first base. He is not a base stealer. But A.J. Burnett, since coming to the big leagues in 1999, 41 pickoffs. And a lot of those pickoffs are of guys that do not have necessarily base stealing speed. So you really have to pay attention when Burnett's on that mound, and you can't venture off too far if you're J.D. Martinez. Only Jamie Wright has more pickoffs for a right-hander than Burnett does since '99.
Yanked right over the head of the third baseman Harrison. That'll get a run in. Looping single down the left field line, and Castellanos remains hot. That'll give the Tigers a 1-0 lead.
3 base hits in this inning, 1 on a fastball, 2 on off-speed pitches. Castellanos went to the bottom of the strike zone and lofted one right over the head of Harrison. Good to see the Tigers doing a better job early tonight with runners in scoring position.
They were 9 for 46 in their last 4 games.
Ooh.
But Simon now has an early lead to work with here. He's gotten a run and maybe more as McCann steps in. Tigers now have 4 hits. Strike 1 on James McCann.
McCann was one of those players on the field last night whose batting average took a hike up. And not many guys did, but he was 3 for 6 in last night's contest.
Here's Burnett's 0-1. Make it 0-2 now on McCann. James also 5 for his last 10 at bats. Burnett retired Martinez by striking him out. Cespedes singled. J.D. singled off the wall in right, and then a base hit by Castellanos. Tigers string together 3 hits to get a run. The 1-2. Little chopper towards second. Walker fires to second. One there. Relay. Not in time. McCann beats it out. That will leave him at first and third now with 2 outs. Now we'll see if the Tigers can get a 2-out hit here from Iglesias.
McCann with pretty good speed. Ball chopped right off the plate. And Walker comes in, gives the ball to Mercer, but they can't turn it over, not with the speed of McCann, who runs well for a guy that squats all night long.
Jose last night was 0 for 6 in the ball game. Ball 1.
You think Walker had time to get in the way of Castellanos there and run him back toward first base and maybe get an out at first and then go to second?
That's he might have had time for that. Slow the runner down, get the out at first, and then get the tackle at second. He might. Here's the 1-0. 1-1 on Iglesias.
Brett Ausmus has admitted, and he really doesn't want to do it, but he has admitted that he has toyed with the idea of pushing Iglesias to the top of the batting order with his .321 average, even though he struggled last night.
cute foul.
But I guess the thing you worry about, if you do bump him up to that leadoff spot, will his approach change? Will he continue to produce the way that he's produced all year?
But Brad brought up a good point, and then the point is, maybe there is a reason that he's hitting .321 in the 9 spot. Maybe that's where he feels comfortable. Maybe that's where he's getting better pitches to hit.
When Ian Kinsler was struggling, not exactly sure when it was, but he did bump him up to that number 2 spot, and Iglesias didn't fare all that well when he batted second. Then he put him right back in that 9 spot. He picked up right where he left off.
Bouncing ball to short. Mercer has it there. They'll get the force to retire the side. Tigers get a run. You're watching Tigers baseball, presented by Bell Tire. Tigers have a 1-0 lead on the Yoenis Cespedes single and run scored in this ball game. With more on Yoenis, let's send it down to Justin White.
Well, Mario, sometimes these things just work out. Tonight is Yoenis Cespedes bobblehead night, and Cespedes needs your help because All-Star voting ends tomorrow at midnight. Right now, he is 4th among American League outfielders. So do your thing, Tigers fans. Log on to Tigers.com. Vote Yo. Vote Cespedes. All the guys were wearing the T-shirts today during batting practice, doing their part, trying to get Yoenis Cespedes into that All-Star game. And the bobblehead, by the way, has the little Vote Cespedes flag attached to the bat. Kudos to the intern that had to tape all these flags onto the miniature bat here, guys. Well
Justin,
done.
I want to make it clear that you stole that from our booth, so we'd appreciate it if you return that.
Nope, I'm taking it home, guys. Sorry. Out of luck.
Thanks, J-Dub. Appreciate it. All right, get out there and vote for Cespedes. He's pretty close, 4th in the American League. Ball's going to drop in and scoot all the way to the warning track before Davis gets it back in, and that's going to be a leadoff double for Harrison.
Harrison tripled in last night's game, double here tonight. And they call him J-Hay. He was an all-star last year, and nice player. Came to the big leagues as a platoon player, and he forced his way into the starting lineup, and Clint Hurdle hadn't been able to take him out.
So just like that, the Pirates now get the tying run at second base. Nobody out. Neil Walker is up there. Pirates already had 5 hits in this game. Walker drills one deep down the right field line. It is going to stay fair and go. It's a home run for Neil Walker. And just like that, the Pirates have a 2-1 lead. Homer number 5 on the year for Walker. double and a home run greeting Alfredo Simon.
It's a fastball, top of the zone. Walker looking to get out in front of something and pull it to the right side of the infield, and did better than that. He got underneath it and he absolutely killed it. That is now 58 home runs for Neil Walker since the beginning of the 2012 season. No National League second baseman has hit more than Neil.
There's a solid single to center field off the bat of Andrew McCutchen.
Simon needs to make an adjustment here now in the third inning.
Time for a game breakdown. We check in with Mickey York. Oh, thanks, Mick. Boy, Rick Porcello not finding Fenway Park, and his time in Boston really good right now.
That's unfortunate because I really like Rick Porcello. Real good pitcher, real good person, but not having a lot of fun pitching in Boston right now. You and I were talking about that Toronto team today who Porcello pitched against. Here's a trade. Cespedes, Wilson coming this way, Porcello going that way, but that Toronto Blue Jays team, I watched a lot of that game today, man. They can absolutely rake.
Yeah, everybody's talked about how really good they are offensively. They'll be on display here over the weekend. Blue Jays are coming in, so we'll see just how good they are.
Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, all three of those guys have more than 50 RBIs already.
Strike is called on Starling Marte. I would think, though, and you and I were talking about this, that ballpark has to have something to do with those numbers.
For sure. I mean, you really don't have to deal with any kind of wind conditions. They can close the roof if it's cold outside. The wind's never blowing in, and when you've got some guys that hit the ball as hard as they do, you're going to put up some really good numbers.
Big swing there by Marte, 0-2. 3 straight hits for the Pirates here, including a 2-run shot by Neil Walker. Pittsburgh has the lead 2-1. McCutchen just 5 stolen bases this year. He swiped one last night. Swing and a miss. He left the strike zone. Down on strikes is Marte. It's already the 5th time he has struck out in the series.
He has punched out a lot this year. 76 punch outs already this season for Marte. He's in the top 10, as you can imagine, in punch outs in the National League. 4-seam fastball, mid-90s thrown by Simon. He doesn't throw many 4-seam fastballs.
Pedro Alvarez fly to center field. That closed out the 1st inning. McCutchen leaning at first base. Simon throws back.
And McCutchen was a track star in high school and also played some baseball, and it looks like he's ready to take that baton in the 4x100 relay with that left foot turning towards second.
4x100 relay. Listen to you with these track terms. Did you run track in high school?
I did not run track. That's the one thing I did not do, but got too much running, man.
Yeah. You did play football.
I did, but it was always baseball and track were always at the same time. But I wouldn't have ran anyway.
You made the wise choice. Swing and a miss by Alvarez, 0-1.
Yeah, good 2-seamer fading away from the dangerous bat Alvarez at 93 miles an hour. Simon has had his number. Alvarez 1 for 14 in his career against Alfredo.
Another toss, and McCutchen dives back in there. These Pirates, they finished up 17-9 in the month of June, and that was the 3rd best record in the majors last month. Cardinals and Blue Jays, the only team that were better. They each had 18 wins. Simon preoccupied now with McCutchen at first.
If you're Brad, you can pitch out here. You already have one strike on Alvarez. If you think that McCutchen's going to try to steal a bag, and you can pitch out. It's not that McCann really needs the help, but if you think he's going to run, why not help him?
1 ball, 1 strike.
That was almost like a pitch out. 93 outside. That would have been an easy ball for McCann to adjust his feet and throw down to second.
McCann has had 58% this year. 13 of 26. Swing and a miss. 1-2 now on Pedro Alvarez. 2 runs on 7 hits for the Pirates. Tigers a run on 3 hits. Simon gave up 2 singles in the first, no damage. 2 singles in the second, no damage. But a 2-run shot here in the third. Two and two. Alvarez with 114 home runs in his career. That currently is 16th all time in the Pirates home run list, which has tied him with Bobby Bonilla. McCutchen still leaning at first base. That'll bounce in now. All of a sudden it's gone 3-2. Fill the count on Alvarez.
Well, McCutchen will be on the move now, which basically takes the the double play out of the equation unless the ball's hit on the line. That's why you want something to happen on the 2-2 pitch. Speaking of Bobby Bonilla,
yeah,
did you see that contract he signed? He's getting $1.2 million from now for the next 20 years.
Really?
From the Mets, that contract he signed.
Nice.
I read it today. He's getting $1.2 million for about the next 20 years.
Runner is going. It is drilled deep to right field. JD is on the run. Not going to get it. It's a fair ball. It goes to the corner. And McCutchen is going to have to stop at third. Ground rule double. It's going to cost the Pirates a run. Another hard hit ball against Simon here in the third.
Simon has made some good pitches in the game. Most of those in the first inning. Their ball was down in the strike zone, but every pitch that he has gotten up, and the Pirates have made him pay. It's a splitter, and that stays right around the belt buckle. Easy pitch for Alvarez to turn on, which he does.
Just inside that line to right field. 4th hit in the inning for the Pirates. And now Cervelli will try and drive in a run. He flied out to center field back in the second. McCutchen good speed at third base. You've got Alvarez at second.
And Brad Ausmus must feel like his team from an offensive standpoint.
Right back up the middle, slow roller. Kinsler has it. His only play is to first, and Cervelli is out with the run scored.
I was getting ready to say, must feel like his team is going to score some more runs tonight against AJ because the infield was relaxed. But had the infield been in, that would have been a base hit for Cervelli.
Instead, he gets his 27th RBI of the year. 3-1, the Pirates have the lead. Alvarez moving to third on the play. And here is Polanco, who singled in the second. Again, as Simon comes in at his feet, 1 ball, no strikes.
And we told you at the top of the show that the last couple of outings for Simon, not necessarily his best. He had given up 12 total runs in his last 2 starts. Add 3 more to that, so 15 runs in his last 3 starts.
Well, you might remember that Simon had the really good first half of last year, but post All-Star break last year, he was 3-7 with an ERA of 4.5.
Also got off to a superb start this year. And for the Tigers, he won his first 4 games.
This is the start we talked about earlier. Here's one of those first 4 wins. April 15th, 8 scoreless. Drilled through a base hit. Polanco has his second hit of the game. Another run in for the Pirates, 4-1. And Polanco now is 2 out of 2.
Too much plate in this particular inning for Simon. Ball's not necessarily darting to the bottom of the zone, staying up, and these Pirates are making him pay.
Nine hits now for Pittsburgh, and 5 of them have come here in the third. Jordy Mercer. That'll get away from McCann. Advance the runner. He's thinking about going to third. Polanco heads back. Wild pitch is ruled. Four runs on 9 hits for the Pirates. A run on 3 hits, Detroit. This after the Tigers grabbed a 1-0 lead in the second. Mercer sends one back up the middle to his left, Iglesias. Spinning play, and Miggy can't handle it. That'll score another run. It bounced into first base, and coming around to score on the play is Polanco. (5-1) Pirates.
Nice range shown by Iglesias, going up the middle, turns and throws the ball over to first base. He bounces it. Miguel not able to help him on the other side, and good heads up base running by Polanco, able to scoot home.
Here is the 9th man to bat in the inning. Sean Rodriguez will stand in. Line to left field. Cespedes on the move, not going to get it. Moving up to second is Mercer. And another base hit for the Pirates. Here's Harrison, who started the inning. That is the 10th hit already for the Pirates. Albuquerque came running from the dugout, not expecting that he would have to warm up, apparently, or to deliver a message, one of the two. It is Albuquerque. Single, by the way, for Mercer, and an E6 allowing that run to score.
We don't usually see Albuquerque this early in a game, but the Tigers had to dip into that bullpen quite often last night, just like the Pirates did.
Ball inside to Harrison.
Of course, there will be no Alex Wilson in the game here tonight. He turned in a terrific performance last night once again, and pitching 3 1/3 innings.
Chopper to third base. Castellanos going to win the race to the bag, and that'll end the inning. They send 10 men to the plate. They scored 5 times. We go to the bottom of the third. One now. A.J. Burnett back at the hill. MGM Grand Detroit brings you the scouting report on A.J. Burnett. Want to show you some of the biggest improvements in ERA from last season to this season. And Burnett, well, he's right at the top of the list.
Along with Clay Buchholz, Shelby Miller of the Atlanta Braves, and of course Max Scherzer now pitching for the Washington Nationals.
We'll see how Burnett pitches with the lead here now. The Tigers have the top of the lineup coming up. It'll be Davis, Kinsler, and Cabrera. 5-1 in favor of the Pirates. And the first one is in for a strike on Rajay. 0-1. Already the Pirates have 10 hits in the game. The 0-1 pitch. Little chopper toward third. Harrison on the charge. Has to get rid of it quickly and does so. One gone. It'll bring up Kinsler.
I told you Harris can basically play everywhere on the diamond. Has to come in and charge this ball, knowing that Davis has a lot of speed and throws accurately across the diamond to Sean Rodriguez.
Kinsler flying out his first time up. And that one is in there for a strike. Burnett gave up a run on 3 straight hits in the second, but was able to limit the damage. And then the Pirates got him 5 big ones. A little bit high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A couple of years ago, Burnett pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then he pitched for Philadelphia last year. And after the season was over, he told his agent that he wanted to go back to Pittsburgh. He did not want him to negotiate with any other team. Don't call anybody else.
Line to left and caught on a little leap by Marte.
Which kind of limited the negotiating power of his agent, but Burnett was adamant. He really enjoyed his time in Pittsburgh, and he wanted to return.
Well, as we say, he has said this will be his last year. We shall see how the rest of the season goes for him and whether or not he will keep his word.
He said that it was a video tribute to him when he went back to Pittsburgh as a Philly last year that really touched him. And at that point in time, he made up his mind that if he had a chance and he was healthy, he would return to Pittsburgh for his final season.
Cabrera's up there now with 2 outs.
You got to love those video tributes.
Yeah. They tug at the heartstrings, that's for sure.
Yeah, he might have dropped a tear or two.
The 0-1 is a little bit outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Miguel struck out in the first inning. Little chopper slowly back toward the mound, and Burnett tough play. And he got it by a step.
Looked like a shortstop on that play, AJ.
Nicely done. 1, 2, 3 they go. We will go to the 4th inning here at Comerica Park. Game as we go to the top of the fourth inning. Mario and Pemba along with Kirk Gibson, who has joined us in the booth, and Gibby's going to be here for the next 3 innings. And back in the broadcast rotation for us this year. Gibby, first of all, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. We got a little work to do here tonight, don't we?
Work to do. You're looking good. Glad you're joining us here tonight. And Alfredo Simon has not really gone so well for Alfredo. Just that one bad inning in the third.
Right, but they need some work out of him. That bullpen's a little beat up from last night.
Yeah, Albuquerque had to come on and actually warm up in the bottom of the inning, but Alfredo is out there. Hopefully much more quick inning here as we go out to the top of the fourth, and the pitch is grounded sharply to second base. Kinsler is there, and so that's a good thing for Simon to quick out.
Exactly. Needed an early out, and last inning Pittsburgh jumping on those elevated pitches, Mario.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that for Simon, and of course he's got that terrific split finger pitch, but they left a few of those up and they were pounded.
Yeah, it looked to me like he tried to throw that cutter a bit too, and is getting underneath it, and the balls were elevated, and Pittsburgh laying off most of his split fingers tonight and getting that juicy elevated fastball.
Well, here is McCutchen now with 1 out of the fourth. He'll look at a strike 0-1. McCutchen had a single as part of that big 5-run third. He's 1 for 2.
Tigers have been throwing him a lot inside. He's got a very quick bat in there. See him setting up away now.
Bouncing ball to short. That'll be routine there for Iglesias.
That's a good quality pitch right there, down and on the outer part of the plate.
So Simon gets a couple of ground ball outs, and as we mentioned, after that lengthy third inning, he's gotten 2 quick ones now.
They have 7 hits last inning.
They did, and of course the 2-run shot by Neil Walker, the big blow.
First pitch fastball, they tried to get up and in on him. Brought his hands in nicely on that. Made him pay.
Here is Marte, an infield single and a strikeout. And he looks at ball 1 outside.
You look across the diamond and A.J. Burnett, a lot of early fastballs on the corners.
Burnett allowing 3 hits to this point. That is it. That is pounded back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's a Pirates team, Kirk, that I think when you look up and down their lineup, not a lot of huge names offensively. Yes, they have McCutchen, and Harrison's been a good player, but they've got it done with some pretty good pitching this year.
Their pitching is outstanding. Throw a lot of ground balls. They're very efficient with their shifting. And their relievers are very efficient, too. You look at their innings, very short. Efficient with few pitches to get outs.
A.J. Burnett has been supported with 5 runs early on in this ball game. Here are some of the ranks we were talking about for that Pirates pitching staff.
Yeah, that ground ball rate first in the, I think, in the major leagues. Don't give up many home runs, and they've got pretty good velocity in all those arms.
The 1-2. That'll miss inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Marte.
I think Simon's best fastball is that 2-seamer he just threw. Seems to have good action on him. They're not centering that pitch.
McCann flashing signs. And the 2-2. That's going to be a fair ball down the first base line. Wide turn. Marte going to second. And JD's throw a little bit tardy. It'll be a 2-out double. So Marte has his second hit.
Good 2-strike approach here by Starling Marte. Ball is elevated. You see him just stay inside that ball, going the other way, just inside the line.
So the Pirates have added to the hit total. And Simon now will deal with Pedro Alvarez. Twelve hits now for the Pirates in this ballgame, and we are only in the 4th inning. Alvarez to the ballgame, double and a fly ball, and he waves and misses 0-1.
Good action on that pitch right there. Good sinking action. Alvarez had a hanging split last time for a double. See that ball go down. That's what you're looking for.
Here's the 0-1. Chopped slowly down the first base line. 0-2 on Pedro Alvarez.
Take a look at Alfredo Simon. Over 34% of the time he uses that splitter. That's first in the major leagues this season. I think Pittsburgh's learned to lay off that pitch a bit. It made him come with the other pitches, and they're hitting the fastball. You want to stay off that pitch that's going down into the dirt.
Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Simon is able to sidestep a double. No runs, 1 hit. 1 man left, and we go to the bottom of the 4th. Expectations of what a bank can be. One is time. Come to Comerica. By Ram. Come discover great deals during the Ram Drive and Discover event. And by Lando Frost Premium Lunch Meat. Great tasting lunch meat and more. Back here at the ballpark as the Tigers and Pirates go at it here. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. 5-1 in favor of the Pirates. Mario and Pemba alongside Kirk Gibson here in the home half of the 4th inning. Tigers trying to gain some ground here after giving up that big 5-run frame to the Pirates. It'll be Victor Martinez to start things off. Victor struck out back in the 2nd, facing A.J. Burnett. The shift is on for the Pirates. And Kirk, when you managed against these guys, you noticed that they're pretty much into this advanced stance now in the shifting, aren't they?
They are, and you need to throw the ground balls if you're going to have the shift in place. You can see they're all over to the right side right there. You're looking for a ground ball. That makes it the most effective. And Clint Hurdle was not into that when he was with Pittsburgh early on. They were having no success, and Neil Huntington switched things around. He bought into it. Look at that. 6th most in the major leagues. Houston, I believe, is 1st. They believe in it. He believes in it. It's worked very well for him. Playoff appearances is evidence of that.
So it was Neil Huntington who basically said, we need to try this.
I believe it. He was running the club, and he went out and found some stats gurus, and it was new stuff. And people were not very open-minded to it. I think Clint admitted it once, but then he bought in.
Right into the shift. There's the ground ball you're talking about. Hit it straight at Walker for the out. 1 gone. So Victor is 0 for 2.
I have a lot of tables, which we'll get into here as I start doing more games. It shows the advantage of the shift, how many outs that you eliminated by being in the shift. You're going to give some up too, but in general, hitters don't like to try and beat the shift early on in the season. You notice quite a few would bunt, maybe squeak a couple over to the left side of the diamond, but for the most part, they like to hit the way they hit.
Well, here is Cespedes.
We got the opposite shift for him.
Playing to pull along the left side of second base. 3 defenders. Yoenis singled, scored a run in his first at bat. He looks at strike 1.
See there, Cervelli's set up on that outside part of the plate, and Burnett just kind of turns it over and runs the ball back over the corner.
Here is Burnett's 0-1 pitch. Lifted back out of play. 0-2.
AJ's also very efficient with that curveball. He throws it a lot when he needs it. He's able to throw it from different angles and different pace on the ball, so it breaks greater at times and lesser at other times. Keeps the hitters off balance. You see a young kid come up, he throws his breaking ball pretty much the same speed. Veteran guys get pretty crafty with it.
1-2.
See Cervelli shake his head. That's an old trick. Burnett shakes back, not even give it a sign.
The 1-2 offering. Just off the plate. 2-2.
Tell you what, Pittsburgh's got a couple of good veteran catchers there. Cervelli and Stewart do a real good job with this staff.
You really like Stewart, don't you?
I do. We played against him over the National League with the Giants. Does a lot of things well. Works very hard at his craft.
Popped up. Who wants it? And barely making the play is Rodriguez, who came in from first base.
See, after all the balls on the outside part of the plate, it's going to go to the ball right there. Who wants it? Somebody's got to call it. If you're the runner there, you got to run that out. You never know. You don't want to look foolish. That ball happens to bounce in fair territory, especially when you're down 5-1.
So with 2 outs, here is J.D. Martinez. Singled back in the second. One of the 3 consecutive hits the Tigers got. Producing their run. Now, Kirk, we're talking about catchers, and how much do you buy into the thought now of pitch framing and the value of blocking balls and things like that when you evaluate catchers?
Absolutely. It's a craft that people are refining more and more every day. There is an art to it.
Diving try by Harrison. He won't be able to make the play. That'll be another hit for J.D. Pull that ball right down the third base line.
So J.D. came in not hitting very good off of A.J. Burnett. We got the second hit right there. You see him stand back nice, hands back, good separation. Like to see that knob. He pulled his hands in very nicely there. Harrison knocks it down, unable to get him. Need base runners.
Interleague play .333 this year for J.D. with 4 home runs. Of course, he had a big one last night. Castellanos starting to heat up a little bit now. Had an RBI single back in the second. He'll shoot that one down the right field line.
Been very impressed with the Tigers in the way that they battled back and stayed in games, even though they're down 5-1 right here. They've done a real good job over time here this year. Had a lot going against them. Done a real good job. Credit to Brad. Keeps them going. Though we lost that game last night, a good battle. It's a good sign.
Meanwhile, Castellanos now 4 hits in this series for the Tigers. 0-2 the count. Well, the Tigers got that big home run from J.D. Martinez. They had their chances late. Really, both teams had a lot of chances late in that game. And the Pirates ended up winning that contest late.
You get into those type of games, both teams had many opportunities, like you say, with runners in scoring position, unable to capitalize, but pretty good pitching in those situations as well.
The 0-2 didn't go. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And look where Cervelli's setting up right here. Wanted that ball up and in. Burnett right there where he wants it. Setting up something else. That's the advantage of getting ahead in the count. 0-2.
Up and in, down and away, and they got him on strikes. That'll be it for the Tigers. No runs and a hit. 1 man left. We go to the 5th. communication has been an issue for Simon.
Yeah, big inning for the Pirates. In the third inning, they scored 5 runs. We were talking about Alfredo Simon having, you see these pitches up in the zone. Those are juicy. Major league hitters are going to make good contact on those. Unfortunately, couldn't get out of this inning in time. Did follow up in the 4th inning with a pretty decent inning. Now they need another inning here out of him. Rest that bullpen.
Pitch count of 71 right now for Simon as you look at his numbers through 4. 12 hits, 5 runs.
I know many of you probably wondering why they didn't take Simon out. That bullpen was pretty vacant for a while. But if you think about the game last night, who's available, who's not, you know Wilson is out. Soria is going to save him for the 9th. Bondone or Chamberlain in the 8th. The lefties are kind of matchup guys. So you're left with Albuquerque and Chamberlain and Soria. So Brad probably tried to get him through 6 and hope they had the lead, and then they go 7, 8, 9. But it didn't work out that way. You got to think ahead a little bit. You got to bite the bullet at times. Well,
and there was a time last night too where I had Kyle Ryan warming up because they were getting real thin at the back end of the bullpen. Ryan's scheduled to start tomorrow.
Yeah, but see, I thought about that. Ryan could have pitched last night because I think they could have brought Sanchez back because of the off day. So Anibal Sanchez could have pitched tomorrow.
There's Sanchi, who was much better in the month of June, which was a positive sign for the Tigers.
Hey, what I like those kids left-handers we got down there in the
pretty good.
And I think they're doing a pretty good job of developing.
Cervelli starting things off here as he pops it foul back out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's something as well, Kirk, to be said about the experience these kids are gaining as well.
They are. You'd like to not have the injuries and not have to go down into your minor leagues early in the season, but the advantage of it is that they do get seasoning. I think they've stood up to it very well. A lot of pressure out there, a lot of things to learn on the fly. You can only prepare so much. Then you get into the action here on the big diamond with the big lights, and that's when you really become something.
2-2. The count stays on Cervelli, who knocked in a run with a ground out in that 5-run third. Alfredo just couldn't seem to stop the bleeding in that inning. He gave up the 2-run homer, but then he gave up a single to McCutchen, a double to Alvarez. A couple of more hits in the inning. Tigers also committed an error. And before it was over, a 5-run third frame.
Yeah, they were swinging early in the count there by the end of that inning. They kind of had him on the ropes. You get tired when you're throwing a lot of pitches within an inning. His pitch count's been up basically the whole game.
Here's the 2-2, and he got him, strike 3.
We call a ball locker right there. You see Cervelli. Ball looks for him. Looks like it's coming right at his shoulder. You see him kind of sit down, take that, take a seat.
4 strikeouts now for Alfredo. Polanco, the batter now, he's 2 out of 2. In fact, Polanco knocked in a run in the 3rd.
Tigers have been trying to throw him inside. He's been turning on him both of his hits. Going away this time.
And he slices it to left field, and he's trouble. Going to go to the wall and extra bases. That'll be a double for Gregory Polanco.
This kid here has got a lot of ability, has not lived up to the billing, but today he swung the bat very well. 2 hits on the inside part of the plate. See this one away, doesn't try and pull it right down into the left field corner for a double.
And so the Tigers now, and Jeff Jones getting on the telephone. See if the Tiger bullpen begins to work again. Make it 13 hits for the Pirates. Here is Jordy Mercer. A couple of singles to his credit tonight.
A lot of damage done by the bottom of that Pirates lineup today.
Yeah, it really has been. Cervelli has knocked in a run. Polanco has knocked in a run. A couple of hits for the 8 guy, Jordy Mercer. Albuquerque was up earlier in that 5-run third. He is up again in the Detroit bullpen. Simon will bluff back to the bag.
Yeah, Polanco will steal. He's very aggressive on the bases.
17 bags this year for Gregory Polanco. Stole a bunch of bases in the minor leagues, hit for power as well, a little bit of power. And again, Simon spins back toward him.
That might be coming from the bench, trying to get Albuquerque hot.
Alfredo about to throw his 80th pitch. The 0-1. So he's gotten ahead of Mercer now, 0-2. Mercer's been a steady, if not spectacular, player in the big leagues. I mean, his numbers have been okay. As you look at the pitch count on Simon, he's been a really steady shortstop for the Pirates.
Yes, he has. A good-looking kid coming up. Continues to develop. He's got a little sting in his bat from time to time, too.
Little pop-up in shallow right field. And JD runs it down, and the runner will hold. 2 gone. Well, here's some of what the bullpen had to do last night, Kirk, and as a manager, this really puts it behind the 8 ball.
Well, it does. You went through your whole bullpen, and you had Kyle Ryan up as well. Alex Wilson, he's my star of the bullpen for the year. 3 1/3 innings, said he wanted to go more. I hear he's a real bulldog. He continues to show that he is. That's after throwing 24 pitches 2 days ago. So he's going to be down for probably 3 days, I would say. He'll take the ball, but they were smart. They continue to give him a rest.
Sean Rodriguez with 2 outs, cuts and misses. Single strikeout for the number 9 hitter, Rodriguez.
Yeah, this guy swings it early and often. Very aggressive.
Last 5 years for the Rays. In fact, had a pretty good year last year. His best season in the big leagues. Hit 12 homers and knocked in 41.
Can play around the diamond. He's continued to develop his game. Tampa Bay plays very sound down there, so good guy to fit in a National League team. Got to have that flexibility in the National League.
And he has certainly given them that. First, second, third. He's played all 3 of those positions this year, not to mention a couple of outfield positions.
I tell you, it takes a special player to be able to do that. It's not comforting to move around the diamond like that. Lots of ground balls, lots of fly balls, lots of early work, and you take that into the game.
Two and one on Rodriguez. When you have a guy like this, Kurt, a guy that can play multiple positions, and I used to talk to Don Kelly about this, who did this in Detroit for so many years. How much do you try and keep them in the loop in terms of letting them know a couple of days down the line, look, we might use you here Tuesday, we might use you here Thursday? I mean, do you look ahead for these guys?
Yeah, and especially you want to tell your veteran guys that might be getting a day off. Andrew Romine, he knows how that feels. But sometimes you can't do it. And again, in the National League, anything could happen. You have to double switch with your pitchers. It's much different than in the American League. But again, it takes a special guy to be able to have the confidence to do that.
Full count now on Sean Rodriguez. We're in the 5th inning. 5-1 Pirates. And he fouled it off right behind home plate. What's Coach got going on here?
Staying loose. Don't want to let those hammies tighten up, do you?
Did you teach him those moves?
I don't have those. How about you?
Negative. Never have?
We'd probably be a pretty good pair on the dance floor, wouldn't we? Huh? That'd be an ugly sight.
We'd have to pass on that, trust me. Full count, 3-2 on Sean Rodriguez. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And it'll end the inning. Another strikeout for Alfredo. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. this one. Here's a quote. What do you make of this quote by Clint Hurdle? He was talking about our persistence in pitching inside has been paying dividends. When you're feeling that ball in as a hitter, it's just not quite as comfortable.
Well, I think he said that 2 years ago, and it's worked very well for this ball club. They're a playoff team every year. It also works that your own hitters are going to get hit too. There's going to be some retaliation, or I guess you could say the other teams are going to pitch inside as well. But he believes that he can do it better than you can, and it's a plus for his club. Now, unfortunately, I've had some experience with the club where we got into that type of situation, but he's a true professional. He handles it the right way. Nobody's trying to hurt anybody. It's been going on in the game for a long time.
James McCann leading it off, sends a ground ball to short. Mercer to his left, and McCann is out. Well, the right-hander Burnett has gone 15 of 17 first pitch strikes.
That's a good start for sure. It'll be interesting to see if he doesn't go to that breaking ball more as he comes through the lineup here for the third time.
Well, the last time the Pirates got to the playoffs before Clint Hurdle came aboard, it was Jim Leyland's squad back in 1992 when they went to the NLCS 3 consecutive years. They had not gone to the playoffs from '93 until they got there 2 years ago.
And a very positive environment with Clint Hurdle. Things get tough. He doesn't waver on it. He really cares about his players. They buy in, and they stick together when the times are tough. And, we're in a challenging time here with the Tigers as well, so we'll be tested for that as well.
Iglesias 0 for 1 with the ground ball. I think it's easy, Kirk, to say we want to keep a positive approach and a positive environment in the clubhouse, but through the course of 162, I mean, that can be a difficult challenge, can it?
Yeah, but that's what teammates do. If you feel like somebody's wavering, you got to pick them up. You got to remind them. I mean, you make the deal going into the season. Everybody's on the same page. You throw your hat in. You're dedicated. You have your resolve. You're going to be persistent at what you do. And fans can help as well. It's a tough deal. You play every day. Things go wrong. You prepare to be successful. It doesn't happen all the time.
Bouncing ball to second. That'll be routine there for Walker. Couple of ground ball outs. Hey, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. It is brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's Rajay Davis.
We're only down 5-1. We've got time to come back and tie and win this game. We've got another day game tomorrow. Tough club coming in behind that. So these are all things you've got to consider if you're Brad Ausmus. Got to keep the ship sailing.
Yeah, the Blue Jays are coming in over the weekend with that vaunted offense that they have. There's a drive into right center field, and McCutchen not going to get it. Going to go to the wall. Rajay thinking tree, and he's going to round the bag and go for a triple. And Davis is in with his league-high 7th triple of the year.
Well, Rajay Davis comes into this game hitting .462 off of A.J. Burnett. Good side swing right there, and this is where you want to hit it, Comerica Park. As soon as it gets to that wall, he knows that that's a stand-up triple.
Now we'll see if the Tigers can get him in with 2 outs. 7 of them now for Rajay, which is one better than Adam Eaton and Kevin Kiermaier.
Big lift if we can pick this run up right here.
Bouncing ball to short. Mercer to his right. And Kinsler is retired on 1 pitch. No runs. They get a triple and strand him in. We go to the 6th. Score Alex Wilson, what he did last night for the Tigers, really invaluable.
Yeah, it was. Running out of pitching 3 1/3 innings last night, did it at 56 pitches. Here's a guy we got from Boston. Got pretty good location. It's kind of sneaky, only about 93 miles an hour, and he's got a very good cutter. Sometimes that cutter looks more like a slider, but guy wants the ball. Like you say, very invaluable to the bullpen, the rest of the guys.
In the meantime, Simon goes back to work as we go to the 6th.
Alfredo settled down since that 3rd inning. That's what the Tigers need.
Yeah, he's given them a couple of doubles, but has not allowed them to score. That'll bounce into Josh Harrison. 1 ball, 1 strike. Harrison 1 for 3. 2-base hit to get things rolling in the 3rd. He eventually scored a home run by Walker.
Another very versatile player for the Pirates. Seem to develop them now. Play all around the diamond in the outfield. Signed a nice contract. It's going to be there in Pittsburgh for a while.
Simon ready with the 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him to chase.
Here's a good splitter. I saw where Simon was not feeling comfortable. You see the grip right there with his split finger. Not as much action on it. That one definitely goes down out of the zone. Gets a good chase. Quick, efficient first out.
And Alfredo now starting to roll up the strikeouts. That'll be his 6th of the ball game tonight. Neil Walker will face a shift to the right side of the Tigers infield. 2 hits tonight for Walker, including a 2-run shot. 0-1.
Trying to jump him again on a fastball. Got the splitter.
No balls and 2 strikes. Let's take a look at the big boys' big play of the game, and it was Neil Walker in the 3rd. And this got it rolling for the Pirates. A 2-run shot. Alfredo left it up, and Walker made him pay right down the right field line.
Not a lot of guys get to that fastball like that. Walker is one of his hot areas, though.
Right back to the mound, knocked down by Simon. Going to have to hurry. And he threw it away, and Walker is hit in the face. Cabrera accidentally hit him as he went by. So Walker is aboard. We'll see if he's okay. Miggy clearly did that unintentionally.
Yeah, Simon knocked the ball down, scrambled, had to rush it. When you rush and you don't get your feet around, it's hard to control where that throw's going. Miggy got him in the face with the glove.
Yeah, pretty good shot, too. And checking the bridge of the nose for Neil Walker.
I think he'll be all right.
His eyes have to be watering a little bit right now. He's not coming out.
You know, sometimes if you sense that ball coming up into you, you can do that little layout and slide to the right of the first base bag. Don't see that much anymore. We had a guy on the '84 team, Chet Lemon, who head first slid every ball. Sparky would.
Would he yell at him?
Well, Sparky would tell him he'd find him. He didn't care. That's one way of avoiding throws like that.
So it's another base runner for the Pirates. 1 on, 1 out. That'll bring up McCutchen. That is a base hit and field single. So 14 hits now for Pittsburgh. McCutchen a single in 3 at bats. Ball 1. Yeah, you look at the numbers, and Simon has given up 14 hits in this game. We're only in the 6th inning, yet he trails only by 4 runs. The Pirates stranded a ton last night. 19 left on base last night, and 7 more already tonight.
Need a nice ground ball here.
Grounded foul outside of the bag at third. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I tell you, McCutchen is so quick inside. A lot of people throw him in there. Brings it every day.
So for the third time now, Albuquerque is up.
Yeah, you're getting around 100 pitches here, so it seems to be the magic number around the major leagues.
1-1. A little bit outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Waiting on deck, Starling Marte, their cleanup hitter. Two and 1 on McCutchen, only 1 out. Two and 2. We had Jack Morris in the booth with us a little bit ago in that White Sox series, talking about 100 pitches and why that came to be and who created 100. And it's a good question. You know, why guys right now, when you hit 100, that seems to be the magic number.
Well, I think in general, the thought is that better to recover from 100 pitches than 120 over the course of a season. You have players you make long-term commitments to. You're trying to maybe save their arms to be more equipped to throw the ball harder and more efficiently more often. And well, they also have specialized bullpens on the back end where they're bringing everybody in that throws 100.
Well, it's a good point. So you're talking about looking at it long term. The difference between maybe 100, 110, or 120, when you start adding them up over the course of the year, could be significant.
It could, but don't tell Jack that, or don't tell Justin Verlander that. They don't want to hear that. And a good friend of mine, David Wells, he doesn't like it either, but it has changed. It seems that it does work. There are pitchers who can do it, but I think in general it's not the case. I go with the giving them less so they can go longer and have more in their tank longer in the season, later in the season, especially in the postseason.
2 balls, 2 strikes on McCutchen. Of course, the postseason seems to be getting longer and longer with the addition of the wild card and the 2 wild cards.
Well, if you look at the World Series last year, they're pulling starters in the 3rd, 4th inning.
Right.
And that's just the way it is. It's so specialized.
So Simon has crossed that 100 plateau. He's at 101 right now, facing McCutchen. And the 2-2. Tap slowly and foul. McCutchen has won an MVP. That was back in 2013 when he stole 27, hit 317, and hit 21 home runs as well. But what we kind of forget is that he's been top 3 in the MVP voting 3 separate times.
Yep, been to the All-Star game 4 times. Last Pirate to do that, Roberto Clemente. That's pretty good company. Currently 5th in the National League outfield voting. He'll be going.
Fouled away again. Here's the high-speed pitch brought to you by Xfinity. What do we have on Mr. Simon today? 95 with the fastball, 66 with the old eephus pitch that he threw earlier tonight. Simon has recorded 6 strikeouts in this contest. It's been a long at bat here for McCutchen. And a wave and a miss, and they finally got him. Let's make it 7 strikeouts now for Alfredo.
Pretty nice pitch, looking for the fastball. It was like a split finger. Ball's tumbling down. It's a pretty good hitter he got there.
Simon now has equaled his season high with 7 punch-outs. Here's Starling Marte. Single double in this game for Marte. Batting a solid .280, and again he leads their ball club with 12 home runs. Runner goes. McCann's throw down to second, not in time. It's a steal for Walker.
kind of stole this one off the pitcher right here. Earl Simon, he can be a 1-5 to the home plate or less than a 1-3. Just got a real good jump. No chance for McCann.
So that is number 3 for Walker in 3 attempts.
Yeah, he sneak attacks you. I was looking at that early. I should have caught that.
Marte waits on the 1-0. Here it is. Ball too high. Pirates, for as well as they played this year, and we mentioned they were 10 over coming into play, still trailed the Cardinals by 8 games in the National League Central.
That's a bad draw in that division. The Cardinals have played exceptionally this year. Very good baseball. The Pirates are a team that usually comes on second half.
Cardinals have won 51 games this year, which is more than any other team right now in Major League Baseball.
There you see the standings. I'm not sure where Pittsburgh stands on the wild card. Cubs making some noise this year as well. Looks like Cincinnati and Milwaukee are going to be sellers.
2-1. 2-2 the count. How much more difficult is that becoming for teams to make a decision on whether or not they're going to buy or sell with that extra wild card position, or does that make a difference at all?
Well, I mean, they usually go with it longer before they make those decisions. I think everybody looking for Philadelphia to make a couple moves, especially with Hamels. Seems to be the hottest commodity. But yeah, the extra wild card has been good for baseball. Good competition.
I agree. You know, when the wild card initially came into baseball, I wasn't really a fan of it. But boy, the added excitement, especially last year's American League wild card game. And you had 2 wild card teams go to the World Series last year. Bouncing ball to third base. On the backhand, Castellanos is thrown out in time. Walker will take third. Time for a game break now. We check in with Mickey York. All right, Mick, thanks very much. Here is Brad Ausmus making his way slowly out to the mound, and it appears bringing the hook with him. Albuquerque is going to come into this ball game. It is a Wolfson Windows pitching change. Simon is out. We'll be back. Away with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. Our coverage of the 2015 Major League Baseball All-Star Game begins July 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
And that makes a difference. You have that advantage. You won 8 of 12 World Series. And we'll talk about this tomorrow. I hear people complaining about the way that that means something. I have an opinion.
Ooh, I think we might have differing opinions. This will be good. Tune in tomorrow.
Bring the gloves?
Bring the gloves and the bell. Here's a strike called on Pedro Alvarez. Here are the numbers on Mr. Albuquerque.
See, he's in his 30th game. 3 ERA. His whip's up a little too high. Throws a lot of the sliders. Really tough on right-handed hitters.
First and third. Way outside. It gets away from McCann, and the run will score. So Walker singles, steals the base, moves up on a hit, and scores in a wild pitch.
Yeah, this one just got away. McCann couldn't get his pocket of his glove on it. It's not where it's supposed to be. When Neil Walker comes in and shades his face, he thought he was going to get hit again.
Walker still checking out the bridge of his nose. 6-1 ball game now. The Pirates in the lead. They have a man at second and 2 outs. Alvarez, big swing.
That's the second kind of a little bit sloppy play. Hate to give runs away like that.
Yeah, the Tigers tonight uncharacteristically, and they've been really good all season defensively. They've committed 2 errors. Wild pitch, scoring a run. Grounded foul. Well, the Tigers' pen last night, 8 innings. They struck out 12 and allowed 2 earned runs in that 8 innings. Really, really good work until the Pirates finally won it late. We mean late or early, as it turned out early in the morning. 2-2 on Alvarez.
Probably going to look to get a couple innings out of Albuquerque.
Tigers tonight have been out hit 15-5. They trail by 5 runs. Missed outside, running 3-2 now on Alvarez.
Seems to be missing a lot, arm side high. Got to make the adjustment. You know, when Jackson here, he talks about that a lot. You got to learn how to fix it in play.
Little chopper knocked down by Al. He'll snatch it and throw off the bag. Did he keep his foot on the bag? Boy, Miggy really bailed him out there.
That'd be a challenge here.
And here comes Clint Hurdle, so hold everything. It looked like he pulled him off the bag. Let's see.
Oh, he was?
No, he was on. That's an out. No challenge. And the Pirates get another run, though. Now 6-1 ball game. Here is our Comerica Bank game summary tonight. Alfredo Simon went 5 2/3, allowing 15 hits this evening. Gave up 6 runs. He struck out 7. Burnett's been awfully good this evening, and 10 batters in that Pirates third. And 7 hits in that frame to take control of the game. They lead 6-1 now as A.J. Burnett goes back to work.
Yeah, the big difference there was the efficiency with pitches. 109 pitches for Simon. A.J. Burnett down there at 62 pitches. You string those hits together, that's how you score.
Burnett going through the teeth of the Tigers lineup now with Cabrera, Martinez, and then Cespedes. Miggy is 0 for 2 in this game. Burnett's been able to scatter 5 hits. Here's the 0-2. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Among the active pitchers right now in the American League, or the major leagues, I should say, only CC Sabathia has rolled up more strikeouts among actives than Burnett. Bounce that one at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So living on that outside corner. Sometimes you get into games that are 6-1 like this, you might throw different pitches than you would in a tighter ball game. Set up a game for tomorrow.
Here's the 2-2. Ooh. Burnett wanted it. You can tell by his body language. 3-2.
Just a little low. Good sinking action. Kirk Gibson may got a call out on that pitch. Not Miguel Cabrera.
Here's the 3-2. That'll get back out of play. You would expect Miggy and what he's accomplished throughout the course of his career to get the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. You see him up there talking all the time. He's talking to the catcher. He's talking to the umpire. On first base, he talks to everybody. He really enjoys the game. Fair competitor. Trying to sneak one in. No, going away again.
Popped him up. First baseman Rodriguez under it on the grass. Miggy now is 0 for 3, 1 gone in the 6th.
You know, he did this to him in the, I think it was his first at bat, where he set up away and the ball runs up and in. Gets in on him, jams him off the handle. Easy out.
Here is Victor Martinez, who is 0 for 2. Meanwhile, Burnett cruising along here. Gave up a 2-out triple in the 5th, but got the ground ball from Kinsler. Victor a strikeout and a ground out.
Much better since he's come back from the disabled list. On fire. Having a great impact on this Tigers offense.
Well, in retrospect, I think the Tigers feel right now they probably should have put him on the DL a little bit sooner. But when you've got a player the caliber of Victor Martinez, you tend to, I guess, again, give him the benefit of the doubt and see if he can snap out of it. But that knee was just barking too much.
Well, you could tell by the way he was running before the disabled list day. And you probably have the player, Victor, saying he's okay. Sometimes you don't do the right thing. But he looks much better running. You can tell he's pushing off better from the left side, and the numbers show it.
Well, Burnett is only at 71 total pitches here in the 6th inning. Lifted toward left field. That ball slicing, and it is going to drop and bounce over the wall for a ground rule double. Victor goes the other way.
I believe this is the breaking ball right here. Just really sitting back nicely. Lets it come and doesn't try and pull it. That's one of the keys to being able to hit off-speed pitches is not try and pull those pitches. When you try and pull them, you tend to roll over on them, tend to elevate when you take the approach Victor Martinez just took.
So we elevated that one for a 2-base hit.
Look at his since the post DL 216 pre, post DL 326, lots more damage.
Here's Cespedes now, and this will get away from Cervelli, and it's going to be far enough to get Martinez to third. Wild pitch advances the runner.
That's pretty hard to expect a catcher to catch this ball, but Cervelli actually puts his hand up, tries to knock it down. Richter with a good read.
Now Cervelli slowly walking out to the mound, and you can tell he's flexing that bare hand. He tried to catch that thing, or at least stop it with the bare hand.
Tried to knock it down, keep it in front of him, but it is too tough to do it. Look, he puts his hand up. It's coming in there pretty hot.
I think may have gotten him on the fingertips.
And that those seams do some damage.
So home plate umpire Marvin Hudson giving him as much time as he can here. Cervelli clearly trying to get a little bit of feeling back in those fingers. Slowly walking back behind the plate.
Now if you're at first base and you got some speed, you give him a little courtesy by stealing the next pitch.
You wouldn't do that, would you, in your playing day? You'd take pity on the catcher.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I don't believe it. Burnett ready with a 1-0. Swing and a miss. 1-1 on Cespedes. Well, Yuenis broken a 0 for 11 with a single back in the second. Still 1 for his last 13.
You're going to go through these streaks, and when you run into a good staff of pitchers playing every day, got to keep grinding.
Burnett missing outside, 2-1. JD Martinez waiting on deck. Yuenis thought about it, but let it go wide. 3-1.
Burnett trying to get the courtesy call from Marvin Hudson there. Just trying to run it back over that outside corner. Doesn't get the call. Favorable count. 3-1.
Little chopper back up the middle. This will get a run in. Cespedes will drive him home with the ground out. So the wild pitch turns out to be big. 2 gone, a run in.
Well, you can see on this at bat why they played the shift on him. He just kept nibbling on the outside corner, and Cespedes finally gave in. Didn't get the run in though.
6-2 ball game. That'll bring up JD with the bases empty. Two more hits tonight for Martinez. 2 of the 6 Tigers hits. Drive that one back out of play. 0-1.
He's got such a good approach. Early in the year it seemed like he was hitting more balls to right field. As of late you see him driving the ball to left center.
You talk about grinding and going through stretches. JD had that one stretch in which he was, I think, 0 for 25. Was really struggling, but pulled himself up. And really in the last month, of course the month of June was just outstanding for Martinez. 26 RBIs in June.
Some big hits too.
Rolls this one toward third, running, scooped by Harrison, but he has no play, unable to really cleanly field that ball.
We'll take it. That ball hit the lip. Ball came up on him.
Right off the heel.
JD hustled all the way. He's kind of break Nick Castellanos right here. Can hit a big fly and we'll be in the game.
E5 is the call on that one. That'll bring up Castellanos, who had a single to drive in a run back in the second. Tigers trying to chip away. They're down 6-2 in the sixth. Ball one.
Castellanos likes hitting against the Pirates.
Nick's last home run was on May the 21st, and that was against Houston here at Comerica. Strike call to the outer edge, 1-1. Nick now has hit safely in 6 of his last 7.
He struggled for a while as well. Coming out of it.
Again, it gets away from Cervelli, not far enough though for Martinez to advance. 2-1.
Good block by Cervelli right there. Did a good job of directing that ball in front of him. No advancement. Watch that front shoulder there. Catchers get quicker and quicker every day.
Cervelli's still being bothered by that, the bare hand, the right hand.
Looking for a day off on that day game tomorrow.
He just might get it. Here's the 2-1. Checked it, strike call, 2-2 on Castellanos.
That was right on the edge of the corner right there. Looks like Castellanos maybe wanting that ball a little more middle.
Ooh, he just missed the outside part of the plate. And it goes full now, 3-2, which will start the runner here with 2 outs.
Marvin Hudson's done a good job not giving Burnett the ball just off the plate.
85 now for Burnett. And the 3-2. Ground ball, third base side, gobbled up there by Harrison. They will get the force to end the inning. Kirk, good working with you again. Welcome back to the booth. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, I'll be here.
Tigers trail this one 6-2 as we go to the bottom or the top of the 7th. Detroit Data Strong fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Back here at the ballpark, Tigers are down 6-2 in this ball game. Ron Allen rejoins us in the booth, and Alfredo Simon, man, he just didn't have it tonight again. As we talked earlier in the game, just left some pitches up and he paid.
You know, he gave up 11 hits to the first 18 batters here today, mostly on fastball, same way he pitched to Pittsburgh earlier in the season. And they made an adjustment against him. He didn't make an adjustment, Mario, until his final 2 innings when he started to use that split-fingered fastball a lot more effectively.
Tigers, meanwhile, having trouble getting to A.J. Burnett. He's been pretty strong in this game.
He's a different guy now. Yeah. He's got that little hip turn. He's kind of slowed things down as he's gotten older. Lots of ground balls. He's kept the ball out of the middle of the plate. He lost 18 games last year. It does not look like the same A.J. Burnett that we watched last season.
Well, Albuquerque goes back to the mound as we go to the top of the 7th now. The Tigers are trailing 6-2. And it's Francisco Cervelli starting things off for the Pirates. Cervelli, then Polanco and Mercer. There's Burnett, who's been good. He has surrendered 6 hits in this game. And Cervelli, who was not using batting gloves, now has that right hand covered with a batting glove.
That might come into play a little later in the game. That a ball that went off the right hand, if the Tigers get themselves in a situation where they can run, he might not be able to throw the ball as efficiently as he has all year. Not bothering his swing now.
No, not at all. Leadoff single. Well, this Friday the Tigers host the Toronto Blue Jays in that big offense they have. 7:08 game. Fans are invited to stay after the game for a special holiday fireworks spectacular. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER. Visit tigers.com. Cervelli still trying to massage that bare hand that he took that wild pitch off of. There's a ball inside to Polanco. They've been pitching him in this entire game.
They have not had much success. 2 singles and a double for Polanco so far this evening, who came in batting about 236 up to 242 as we speak. Guys that stand 6 feet 5 inches, that have those long arms, that's what you have to do against them. You have to crowd them with fastballs inside, but when you do decide to go in there, you need to get it in there.
2-0 count on Polanco. Albuquerque came on in the 6th inning, but he was warming up way back in the 3rd when Simon was having difficulty, and Al is not used to warming up that early in games, so his routine was messed up a little bit tonight.
No doubt about that. He had to run down to the bullpen in the 3rd inning when Simon was having trouble. Give Simon some credit. I mean, the numbers aren't going to look pretty tomorrow morning, well, tonight either, but the fact that he was able to pitch as long as he did just kind of shows how much he knew that bullpen was depleted.
A single by Cervelli here in the 7th, the 16th hit for the Pirates tonight. It's flared back out of play. He got that out of Alvarez to close out the 6th inning. Did Albuquerque, now going after Polanco here in the 7th. Again inside, snap throw. Ooh, that was close.
It doesn't really matter whether McCann is throwing from the knees or whether he's throwing down to second base. He gets a lot on his throws. Cervelli might have to come out of this game, man. He's in a lot of pain.
Oh, he took that one right in the face.
That's the second one Biggie slapped in the chops today.
That's right, he got Walker earlier. Right at the bridge of the nose, the same spot where he got Walker.
Well, they lead the league in being hit by pitches with 44, and they also lead the league in potential knockouts.
They apparently lead the league in getting smacked on the nose. There's Walker, who is just now regaining his senses. 3-2 on Gregory Polanco.
Albuquerque needs to stop any damage that the Pittsburgh Pirates are entertaining the thought of doing in this particular inning. The Tigers are back in grand slam distance.
Yank foul. Look out.
And their big bats are going to come back up in this game. So if you're Albuquerque, you have to keep the score right where it's at.
Well, the Pirates are too shy of their season high in hits. They have 16 right now. 18 is their high.
And this is a team that came here that we were told was not a very good offensive team, but they racked up a lot of knocks in last night's game as well. 15 of them.
Outside, he lost it. And so the first two reach. And while we have a chance, we check in with Justin White, who has more on Nick Castellanos in the community today.
Yeah, Mario, a group of young ball players got quite the surprise earlier today thanks to one of the Tigers. The Detroit Munger Youth Lions were practicing over at the University of Detroit Mercy, going through some drills. And look who shows up. None other than Nick Castellanos. They got to meet Nick, and he led them in a baseball clinic. The event was sponsored in part by Bell Tire and the MLB Players Trust Buses for Baseball program. Nick going through drills with the guys, signing some autographs, and then the team got to ride the bus down here to the ballpark, taking batting practice from the field, and they're here at the game tonight, guys. What a day and what a memory they will have, thanks in part to Nick Castellanos.
It's a great story, Justin. Thank you. You know, when I was a little leaguer, if a Tiger showed up to one of my practices, I would have flipped.
Right.
Absolutely flipped.
It's great to see the kids in the game, though. Kids playing baseball.
Great story. Here's Mercer now with 2 on and nobody out. Albuquerque operating toward the bottom of the Pittsburgh lineup here. A couple of singles for Mercer in this game. He's got Cervelli at second base. He has Polanco at first. 1-1. Driven to right field. That'll move Martinez back. Still going back. He looks up. Makes the catch. What a running play. They might get 2 out of this. The throw to second. A double play. Oh, J.D. Martinez with a spectacular running catch in right. That looked like a double all the way.
It's a great play by Martinez in the outfield. Martinez was getting subbed for last year late in games because Brad did not think he was a great defender, but he has been outstanding in right field all year, and he has his second assist of the night, which gives him 8 on the season. Bad base running here by Cervelli. Nobody out, regardless of what's going on in the outfield. You've got to tag up and get to third base, and then he gets doubled off. Even if he doesn't catch that ball and you're Cervelli and you're on second base or close to second base, at least you can tag up to get to third base. And if that ball gets away from Martinez, you score easily.
Well, what a break for the Tigers there. Ball was stung by Mercer. Swing and a miss by Sean Rodriguez.
JD's getting it done on both sides of the ball, raking with that bat. 20 home runs, slugging percentage way up, and also making very nice defensive plays.
Telling you, Brad said it before the game. Look at our right fielder when you're talking about all-stars as well. What a play by JD to keep this a 6-2 game. Rodriguez a single in 3 at bats. He has struck out twice. Line foul down the right field line. 1-2 on Sean Rodriguez. Action in the bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They've got the left-hander warming up. That is Jeff Locke.
You don't want to get yourself into a situation on a nightly basis when you try to match up with the bullpen of the Pirates. They come in with a 2.38 ERA as a bullpen, which is outstanding in the National League. Third best, as a matter of fact. behind St. Louis and the Kansas City Royals. Imagine that, Kansas City with a good bullpen.
It's not stunning. The Tigers this year have seen some bullpens, man. Houston's got a good bullpen. KC, St. Louis.
And it seems like every guy that trots out of those bullpens you just spoke of are 95 miles an hour and above.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and that will end the inning. Boy, this thing was short-circuited quick. And he was done so because of J.D. Martinez. Great running catch. And he doubles up Cervelli. Is network broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving around the world on land and ships at sea. We welcome you all. By the way, you can spend your holiday in Comerica Park this Saturday. The Tigers are hosting the Blue Jays at 108. First 10,000 fans 21 and older receive a free Patriotic Tigers hat. Pretty cool. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. It's been the fourth here at Comerica. All right, well, the Tigers will see if they can find some momentum now on that great defensive play by J.D. Martinez. James McCann will lead it off, then Iglesias, and then Davis. A.J. Burnett goes back to work, and he fires a strike 0-1. (6-2) Pirates lead in the bottom of the seventh. Bender drops inside.
A.J. Burnett tonight is 22 of 26 in first pitch strikes, so really look no further than the main reason why he has had so much success against Tigers batters.
Whoa.
He's also thrown 11 ground ball outs. This is not the A.J. Burnett that I remember looking at the last couple of years.
Last time the Tigers faced Burnett, it was a really good matchup. Shane Green was in the middle of his really good start, and Green outdueled him 2-0. 6 2/3 in that game for Burnett, 1 run. 1-2, the count stays on McCann, Iglesias, and then Davis to follow. .90 total now for Burnett. Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball foul, third base side. McCann for 2. Ground balls in the second and fifth innings. The 38-year-old Burnett goes back to work. And a ground ball, base hit right field. Leadoff single here in the seventh. Found a seam to the right side.
That's a nice job here by McCann. When a guy is throwing as many ground balls as Burnett has tonight, what you have to do as a hitter is you have to force yourself into staying inside the baseball, pulling your hands close to your body, and hitting the ball the other way. If you try to force the issue against Burnett because he had so much movement, the ball is going to dart down and in against most of these right-handers, and they're going to ground out to the left side of the infield. Nice job by James McCann.
There's Iglesias. He's bounced out twice, showing bunts. It'll draw Harrison in at third base. Iggy now is 0 for 8 in the series. This would be a good spot to pick up his first hit.
Iglesias was batting .330 when the night began last night. Now down to .318.
Drops down a bunt foul.
It's a good idea. He can run, gets lots of infield singles. You know, when I came back on the television side, we're talking about the 15 hits that Alfredo Simon gave up. Last starter to give up 15 hits as a Tiger, you have to go all the way back to 1998.
Really?
Scott Sanders gave up 16 of them.
Yet, and we made this point, at the time he was still only down by 4 runs.
He settled in. I mean, he gave up a lot of hits on his fastball early. They were up, but then he kind of found his arm speed, and he threw a lot of really good splitters. And before he departed, it was almost like night and day.
The 2-1. Again, a bunt, this time to third base. Harrison going to have to get rid of it quickly, and he does. Iglesias very nearly had a bunt single. Nice play by Josh Harrison.
He gets a sacrifice for that. He bunted it too hard down toward Harrison. The ball's still moving when Harrison got to it. When you're trying to bunt down the third baseline, you want the ball to stop before that third baseman gets there. Make him barehanded, and then you've got a better chance of getting a bunt base hit.
Advance the runner to second base. Here is Rajai Davis.
It kind of puzzles me that we see this all the time. And not just this official scorekeeper. The Tigers are down by 4 runs, so it really makes no sense to sacrifice or even be given a sacrifice when Iglesias was clearly bunting for a base hit.
I agree 100%. I mean, for me, that is not a sacrifice, but that's the way it's ruled.
Down by 1, I can see, okay, maybe bending the rules a little bit, but they're down by 4. You're not giving up outs when you're down by 4.
Bouncing ball to short. Runner will advance to third, and Rajai is out. 2 gone. Well, the Tigers conclude their weekend series with the Blue Jays this Sunday at 1:08, Sunday Kids Day. All kids 14 and under receive a free Ian Kinsler poster. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER. Or if you'd like, visit tigers.com to get one of these nifty, and I mean nifty, Ian Kinsler posters.
You gonna put it on your wall?
I am that. Right next to my, what was the other one? Was it JD?
JD a couple days ago.
Yep. Kinsler 0 for 3. Need a 2-out hit, not getting this run. Strike 1 on the outer edge.
Another first pitch strike for Burnett.
It has been the norm all night long. Here's the 0-1. 0-2 on Kinsler, who just stares down at the ground.
When you're around the plate as much as AJ has been tonight, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt. He throws this ball right to the glove of Cervelli, and he gets the call from Marvin Hudson. Right at the glove.
Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Kinsler is livid at himself, and down goes the bat. And the helmet foul. No runs, 1 hit. They get a runner to third. Burnett cruises tonight.
Gave up quite a few hits early in this game on his fastball, but our bell-tired pitch by pitch was the adjustment that he made with his split-fingered fastball, albeit a little late here today against Pittsburgh. He had much better arm speed in the 4th, 5th, and part of the 6th inning with that tumbler, and he got himself lots of swings and misses, 7 strikeouts for Simon tonight, and it's just a late adjustment by him. But you have to give Pittsburgh credit. He faced them earlier and threw a lot of fastballs against them in Pittsburgh. Tonight they were ready for those 4-seam, 2-seam fastballs he was featuring.
Well, the Tigers go back to the bullpen now. Albuquerque is done after 1 1/3. He will give way to Java Chamberlain in the wall side windows pitching change.
Ooh, Java's ERA has shot up to 3.15. It was in the high 1 area for a long time. Fastball gets up to 95. He's got a slider, curve, and a changeup. Not many changeups thrown by Java.
Java came on, gave up a hit in a 1/3 of an inning in the ball game last night.
It's a big hit too. It was an 0-2 pitch to McCutcheon, which was a fastball right down the middle.
Top of the order coming up for the Pirates. As we go to the 8th, Chamberlain goes to work. 6-2 Pittsburgh. Harrison swings and misses 0-1. Walker and then McCutcheon to follow. .280 batting average for Harrison. Flare to right field, and moving back is Martinez. JD runs it down. 1 gone to the 8th. Hey, Saturday the Rays head to the Bronx to take on the Yankees in a game that you can only see on Fox Sports 1 beginning at 12:30 Eastern. Then at 7 it's Baseball Night in America. The Twins square off against the Royals on your local Fox station. It's all this week on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. Neil Walker. Big night, 3 hits, including a 2-run homer. Walker, an infield single, a steal, advanced on a wild pitch, or actually advanced on a single and then scored on a wild pitch. Driven toward left, ball hit pretty good. Cespedes on the move, and that ball is going to go over the wall and gone, a home run. His 2nd of the night. Walker bounces one over the wall and left. .7-2.
I did not realize that Neil Walker had that kind of pop the opposite way. 2nd home run of the night for Neil Walker. Fastball tailing away, kept his head down, put a good pass on it. Looked like it bounced right off the top of the fence.
Yeah. And
bounced over.
Top of the fence and then over the bullpen. Doink. 17 hits for the Pirates offense tonight. And they now lead by 5, 7-2. Andrew McCutcheon, the batter. Sometimes they bounce back, sometimes they bounce over. Bouncing ball to short. Iglesias. 2 gone. A.J. Burnett, part of the big story tonight for the Pirates. 7 innings, 7 hits, no walks.
Dealing 24 of 29 also in first pitch strikes for A.J. All of Neil Walker's home runs this year have come batting left-handed. All 6 of them.
Here's Starling Marte. He's had a big night as well, and when you put up 17 hits, most of your offense will up and down the lineup have a lot of hits. Oh boy, That thing was smoked way back and gone beyond the bullpen. Starling Marte just hit a bomb. And I mean a bomb. That is his 13th home run of the season. There are some that just leave no doubt.
He's got a lot of hand speed. And Jabba, he left a breaking ball at the top of the strike zone at 87. And as soon as Jabba let it go, he knew that was not going to make it into James McCann's glove.
Here's Alvarez. Little chopper foul. Third home run of the night for the Pirates. Walker is impressed with the distance of that one.
Yeah, he was.
Team high 13th homer for Starling Marte. Two balls, one strike. Alvarez had a double in the third in this game. His only hit tonight. Pirates have equaled their season high with 18 hits. Two and two on Alvarez. Ball three. The other 18 hit game for the Pirates came against the White Sox. And that was back on June 15th. Drilled high in the air, deep into right center field. Rajay going back. He looks up. Oh my goodness, with that one.
Mommy, make him stop.
That thing went even farther than Marte's. Ooh, he's got the bench up on that one. Third home run of the inning.
You don't see many over the out-of-town scoreboard. Another breaking ball that stays up in the plate, and Alvarez just unloaded on it. Majestic shot in the right center field.
It's a 9-2 ball game, a 3-run eighth. Walker, Marte, and now Alvarez.
Walker hit a fastball out of the ballpark. Marte and Alvarez sliders.
Walker's looked like a little lazy fly ball compared to the last two. Cervelli the batter. He's got a base hit and an RBI in this game. 19 hits, season high now for the Pirates. One and two on Cervelli.
A.J. Burnett wondering where all this run support has come from tonight, because in his last 4 starts, and they were averaging just over 1 run for him. They've got him a bunch tonight.
It's the first time the Pirates have gone back-to-back homers since September 7th of last year. That was against Chicago. Walker and Alvarez and Marte have gone deep in this inning.
We've talked about this on occasion, the fact that the Tigers just not holding home court advantage very well this year. They come in 20-20, right at 500. They're in jeopardy of going under 500 at home, a place where they have played exceptional baseball the last number of years.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, the Tigers over the last couple of years would routinely win over 50 at home.
You have to win your series at home, and then you hope to split on the road. That's how the Tigers had won 4 consecutive American League Central crowns.
1-2 on Cervelli. More championships. 2-2. Pirates have 4 homers, 4 doubles, and 11 singles. Did he go? No, he did not. So says Sam Holbrook. Full count now, 3-2 on Cervelli. The Pirates' 4 home runs in this game is a season high. The 3-2. Iglesias, great short hop play, but he can't handle it. Unable to come up with it cleanly to throw him out.
That's kind of how the night has gone for the Tigers.
That's going to be a base hit, even with the great plays. The Tigers not able to convert.
Just couldn't make the exchange to get the ball across the diamond.
And Brad Ausmus coming out. Java Chamberlain has given up 3 homers and a single in the sitting. He will also give up the baseball. And we'll step aside. Tigers go to the pen. Here's Blaine Hardy coming in. Law firm official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price period. Bell Tire. Myers, save big with M-Perks from Myers. Sign up at mperks.com. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Well, it's 9-2. 3 home runs here by the Pirates in the 8th inning. They're still batting with a man on and 2 men out. Here is Blaine Hardy taking over, and the first pitch is hit high in the air to left. This will get him out of the inning. Cespedes waiting under it, and the side retired. A 3-run 8th. And the Pirates go to the bottom of the 8th, up 9-2.
Burnett absolutely dealing here tonight. Take a look at the location of all these pitches, all south of the knees. Tigers were swinging at them all night long. They grounded out a ton. They struck out just a handful of times, but A.J. Burnett just had his way here tonight against Tiger bats.
He'll turn things over to the bullpen now. And here are the final numbers on Burnett. 7 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. And he'll give way now to Jared Hughes.
Hughes checks in with a 2.65 ERA, 25 strikeouts, only 6 walks so far. And pitching in his 39th game, he also has 12 holds.
Faced only one batter last night. That was this man here, Miguel Cabrera. He retired him in the game last night.
He's got a great sinker. He throws from a low 3/4 arm slot, and when he throws that two-seamer inside, he gets a lot of movement on it.
His ERA in the month of June was 0.77. (9-2) Pirates lead. Game 2 in this series.
Only one other bullpen in the National League has been better than Pittsburgh's, St. Louis Cardinals, and one team in the American League, the Kansas City Royals.
1-2 on Miggy.
And if they can get this kind of offense, or at least close to this with their pitching staff, they're going to get into the postseason again.
Yep, I would agree. They have 20 hits tonight. Little chopper, third base side, Harrison. High throw, but Miguel is out, 1 away. We'll follow the Tigers all season long in 2015 with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. And Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. MLB.com at Bat. Get it for your smartphone or your tablet. Here's Victor now. Double in 3 at-bats for Martinez. He scored a run in the 6th. Again going the other way. It's slicing toward the corner, and it's going to go foul. Martinez went to left center for his double in his last at bat. Jared Hughes grew up in Southern California, went to Santa Margarita High School in Santa Margarita, California. Ooh, down goes Martinez. Victor stumbling at home plate.
It's the second time Victor has been hit in the series.
So he'll take first base. Martinez last night hit by Garrett Cole and had a stare, a long stare for Cole last night. Ball was thrown behind him.
Looked like it got Victor right on the left foot. And Cole got Victor last night right in the square of the back.
Strike called on Cespedes. Yoenis with a single. Knocked in a run with a ground out in the 6th inning. One ball, one strike. Just off the plate, 2-1. Hughes will turn 30 in just a couple of days. He was born on the 4th of July. So he's got a birthday coming up.
How about that?
2-1 and swung on and missed. 95 there from Hughes.
And it's not a straight 95. And his 95 has a lot of movement to it. And because of the arm slot.
Hughes is listed at 6'7", which provides an angle tough to deal with for right-handers. Swing and a miss, and Cespedes is out of there. 2 gone, first strikeout for Hughes.
And another 2-seamer at the bottom of the strike zone. Cespedes couldn't hold up on it.
JD Martinez, 2 singles, also reached on an error by the third baseman Harrison. Wave and a miss, 0-1. .38 ERA for that Pirates bullpen. Now he's gone ahead of JD, 0-2. Last night they got a really good effort out of Garrett Cole, their starter. Same tonight against AT DET. Tigers unable to do a whole lot. And tomorrow they're going to face Liriano. Kyle Ryan will go for the Tigers. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kyle Ryan warmed up a couple of different times last night as the Pirates and the Tigers were playing 14 innings, but obviously did not get in the game, therefore can still make that start tomorrow.
Pulled into left, base hit. Boy, JD just keeps swinging.
JD's got that batting average up to 280 now too.
Here is the upcoming matchup presented by the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning. Here are the numbers on the guys that are scheduled tomorrow.
Good ERA for Liriano, but he has lost 6 games and he's only won 4, but he has punched out a bunch. He's punched out 108 and he's walked 31. Ryan is the starter tomorrow, not Sanchez.
Here's Castellanos. Tigers now have 8 hits, 3 of those for JD Martinez. Ball 1 to Castellanos. Here's the 1-0. Nick tonight with a single to drive in a run back in the second. He got the Tigers a 1-0 lead at that point, but it didn't last long because Pittsburgh answered with 5 in the third off of Alfredo Simon. On their way to posting 20 hits in the ball game tonight. Two and 1 the count. Make it 2-2 now on Nick. Martinez hit by a pitch. JD Martinez with a single, getting the Tigers a couple of base runners. The 3 home runs, though, turned out to be big because those are 3 big insurance runs that the Pirates got on homers by Walker, Marte, and Alvarez in the top of this inning. Here's the 2-2. Bouncing ball to short. Mercer to his right is going to go to third to get the force there. Interesting. That'll end the inning. No runs. Hit batter and a single, 2 men left.
Here is the 1-800-CALL SAM of the game. JD Martinez with a couple of assists from the outfield here tonight. He also made an outstanding play here, taking a double away from Jody Mercer. Cervelli was a base runner on second base. He ventured off too far. JD came up alertly, fired the ball back to second base to get another assist.
So J.D. Martinez doing it with the glove, with his arm, with the bat tonight. Unfortunately, the Tigers down by 7, 9-2 as we go to the ninth inning. Blaine Hardy goes back to work.
This is a disappointing loss here tonight for the Tigers if they go on to lose this game. And Pittsburgh coming to town there. They play each other every year. And Pittsburgh obviously has very good pitching, but the Tigers just not matching their intensity tonight.
There's a strike called on Mercer. You saw the defensive changes there. Cespedes out of the game. Miggy out of the game. Kinsler out of the game. Mercer is 2 out of 4 tonight. And he looks at the ball low, 2-1. Hardy came on in the 8th inning and got Polanco to fly out on 1 pitch. In the air to right, going to the corner. Again, J.D. Martinez, does he have room? Yes. Straddling the line in the corner, 1 gone.
Third time that he has flown out to J.D. here this evening, Mercer.
Hey, join us again tomorrow. The Tigers wrapping up this series with the Pirates. Our coverage begins at noon with Tigers Live. Tigers Pirates tomorrow at noon right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Here's Sean Rodriguez. Strike 1 on Rodriguez. Tigers won 2 out of 3 from the Pirates in April in Pittsburgh. And with a win here tonight, the Pirates would guarantee themselves at least 2 out of 3 in this series. Before the Blue Jays come a-calling, they'll be in town over the weekend.
You want your bullpen to be intact when the Blue Jays come to town.
That's a good point. The way they are swinging the bats.
Yes, you have to be well rested from a bullpen standpoint if you're going to match up with Toronto, because they can hit.
One and 2 the count. Bouncing ball left side. Iglesias fires it over there to Romine. 2 gone. Well, in case you just joined us, here's the game summary. A.J. Burnett was good tonight for the Pirates. He went 7, giving up 7 hits. 2 earned runs. He threw exactly 100 pitches tonight. And Neil Walker's had a big night for the Bucks.
Walker 4 for 5 with 2 homers. He drove in 3, but he's not the only one. Several of their players had outstanding offensive evenings.
Josh Harrison, he'll stand in now with 2 outs. Ball 1 from Hardy. Harrison has a double and a run scored. Ground ball, third base side, foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tigers in the 9th have McCann, Iglesias, and Davis. This time it's going to be a fair ball deep behind the bag, knocked out by Castellanos. His throw is going to be late.
And that is going to possibly be the 3rd error of the evening for the Tigers. He backed up to get the best hop that he could get, and the ball goes right in the glove and right out.
2-out base runner, and Walker will step in. Two home runs tonight, highlighting his evening. That's it for a strike. 0-1. Oh, look who's warming up. AC's warming.
Caminero. That's his name. I mean, AC.
It's his first name.
Oh, I got no shot at that.
Here's your boy. Archimedes Caminero. Better known as AC to Rod Allen.
It flows a little better, doesn't it?
It does flow better. High and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. (9-2) Pirates lead. We're in the 9th inning. Hardy back home, and it's going to get away from McCann. And it'll move the runner up. They ruled that a base hit, Rod.
No way.
At ground ball to Castellanos.
No way.
I kid you not. Wild pitch advances the runner. Wasn't that ball in his glove?
It was.
21 hits on the night now for the Pirates. Oh, and away, and now the count will fill on Walker.
Walker batting just .205 right-handed this year. Came in batting .269 left-handed, but with the 4 hits, that average went up.
(3-2) swing and a miss. He was out in front, struck him out. Inning over, and we go to the bottom of the 9th.
To vote Cespedes. Yes, Yoenis Cespedes. He needs your votes for the All-Star game. We've still got the bobblehead down here. And also a reminder to stick around for Tigers Live right after the game. Mickey York and Craig Monroe inside the Coliseum Studios. We'll talk to Alfredo Simon about his night. And you'll get the thoughts of Brad Ausmus as well. Tigers Live right after the game, Mario and Rod. And I'm not giving you this bobblehead back, by the way.
Stealing
unless you meet my demands.
Stealing is bad. What are your demands?
Well, you remember the Indians bullpen when they caught Donaldson's home run ball, the 100th home run ball? Well, they requested some Apple products. I'm thinking a couple iPhones, a couple iPads, an Apple Watch. What do you guys think?
I think you ought to keep that trade. You ought to keep that bobblehead.
You can have that bobblehead.
There you go. I'm keeping it. He's going home with me.
All right, Justin, thanks. We look forward to Tigers Live after the game. Right now, the Tigers coming up here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And there's a swing and a drive deep into left field. James McCann with a rainmaker out in left, a long home run.
That was a 97-mile-per-hour fastball by Caminero that James McCann just absolutely turned on. I'm so used to JD hitting him out of the park. How about this youngster, man?
I'll tell you what, he just continues to impress.
Man, is he a really good-looking young catcher.
What a swing.
Ooh, a little back flip.
Yeah, he knew that one was gone.
Yeah, he did. Give him some style points.
Leadoff home run here in the 9th inning makes it 9-3. Caminero comes back with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Here are the numbers on Caminero. In there, and the count is 0-2.
Fastball gets up to 100 miles an hour.
There's a base hit to right field.
And that pitch was 99, sliced the opposite way by Iglesias. But when the fastball is straight, even though it's at 99, these guys can hit it. Big league hitters can hit straight fastballs, regardless of the velocity. Iglesias needed that base hit.
He sure did. Here's McCann again. Earlier today, I had an opportunity to spend some time with McCann and Kyle Ryan and Alex Wilson. We visited some of their veterans at the VA hospital today. We had a little Wii baseball tournament.
How'd that go?
And it went well, but McCann hit some home runs that were nowhere near as far as the real one was here tonight. I promised I wouldn't mention that Kyle Ryan had 0 home runs, but it's okay. It's a thought that counts.
How many did you hit?
I didn't play.
You didn't play?
No, I just emceed. Want to embarrass myself. That's missing low to Rajai Davis. That was the 10th hit of the game for the Tigers. First 2 have reached here in the 9th. High fly ball, right field. It'll be playable for Polanco. First out of the inning. Josh Wilson will get his first at bat. Wilson hitting .389 this year. He's played in 8 games for the Tigers. Shoot that one back up the middle. They'll flip the second one, relay to first. Going to be late. Look at the force at second base. 2 gone. Wilson aboard in the fielder's choice. And the Tigers now down their last out, trailing 9-3 as Romine stands in. Andrew batting .299. He's hit a couple of home runs this year. Turn on that one, foul. 0-1. Pirates last night in that long game, they had only 1 walk, and that was an intentional walk. Tonight, they have not walked anybody.
14 of them were from Simon.
Glenn Hurdle got a really good effort tonight from his starter. There's a base hit to right field. So Caminero gives up another hit that'll put 2 men on. It's going to bring up Victor Martinez.
last night I was telling you that I came to that MIG event and I met Romine's
I did.
people in the clubhouse?
Yep.
No, I didn't.
You did?
There were some people in the clubhouse that said, we're the Romines. We absolutely love you. We love your broadcast. And we love what you guys do. I mean, you're thinking it's Romines people. You know what I mean? I'm the dad. This is the granddad.
Were they imposters?
They might have been Romines. But I thought they were this Romines. And then Andrew came up to me today and his mom said, your dad's not in town. I mean, I'm thinking, in the clubhouse. I mean, everybody's parents are down there. I mean, it's a family event. And the guy comes over and says, we are the Romines. This is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. Da-da-da-da. I'm just assuming they're Andrew's people.
Well, did you also meet the Cabreras last night, too, the Martinezes?
I'm like, are you kidding me? Andrew came over to me and said, is Dad in town? I'm like, you got a man, oh, man.
We're the Romines. That's pretty funny, actually. 0-1 the count on Martinez. Bouncer back up the middle should be the ball game.
They were imposters.
You was had. That's the ball game.
Well, we promised you this, so we have to show it to you, even though it's all about the Pittsburgh Pirates. They hit 4 home runs in the contest. Neil Walker, well, he did it twice. He went once to right field. That was against Simon. He also went to left field. This one was against Jabba Chamberlain. And then 2 more home runs in the same inning, both against Jabba Chamberlain. Marte and Alvarez went back-to-back. So this is all about the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. You still laughing at that?
I'm still laughing at the Romines. 21 hits tonight for the Pirates, and no laughing matter for the Tigers. They lose this one 9-3. We'll be back to Comerica Park.